अगर आपका कॉन्सेप्ट शुरू से बहुत क्लियर है, आपने शुरू से ये इंटरलिंकेजेस वाली जो है अप्रोच रखी है, तो एग्जामिनेशन हॉल में अगर आपने नहीं भी पढ़ा है वो टॉपिक, एटलीस्ट विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाट एग्जैक्टली कैन बी रिटन इन दिस आंसर. This is the syllabus that you see here. But then out of the syllabus, as I did tell you, that there are three important topics that you need to cover. And frankly speaking, if you have covered these three topics carefully, like any question which is coming from this particular topic, we'll be able to answer that question. This is my promise to you. In fact, I must say the highest scorer in history optional so far, Iswar Kandu, was also my student. So he was mentored by me, and that's how he managed to score very good. Though I won't take all the credit by my own, because ultimately, whenever you are getting success in UPSC, so majority credit goes to you only. This is the official syllabus, and this is the topic-wise breakdown. So I have provided both the things here. You know why? That's exactly the same thing I was willing to discuss. Any optional paper that you have been taking, honestly, and trust me, because I know many teachers who have been teaching different optional papers. And trust me, for finishing any optional paper, you need at least 5 months. I would be also able to finish the syllabus in 5.5 months. And trust me, every important topic which is there in the syllabus, that will be able to somehow solve it. So okay, before I start, I should go for a sort of brief introduction of mine. So my name is Piyush Kumar, and if it is about my academic degree, in that case, I have done MPhil in history. I'm currently pursuing my PhD as well. Apart from that, I have been also associated with a university teaching for last 13 years. I have been teaching in Delhi University as well, right? And as far as that UPSC mentorship is concerned, for last 13 years roughly, I have been mentoring the UPSC aspirants also. And थोड़े बहुत लोग मेरे उसमें जो है लोगों ने क्लियर किया है. That list is slightly bigger, and in fact I must say कि the highest scorer in history optional so far, Iswar Kandu, was also my student. So he was mentored by me, and that's how he managed to score very good. Though I won't take all the credit by my own, because ultimately, whenever you are getting success in UPSC, so majority credit goes to you only. Without any doubt, majority credit goes to you, and we just make minor contributions in this, right? Before I proceed, or before I start, I would like to know that how many of you are having history as your background, those who have covered something in your either, let's say, graduation, or somebody has done masters in history. Anybody who has done these things? Anybody? Graduation or post graduation? Not really, I believe so, right? That's why they're not responding. Okay, fine. So anyways, I'm not saying that if you have done something on history, then only you are eligible to take this optional paper. Not really, right? But yeah, I'll say that somehow IT engineer. Okay. Arwaj. राइट, एंड दिस इज गुड दैट इंजीनियर्स आर येट टेकिंग द ऑप्शनल पेपर. एक टाइम पे तो ऐसा हुआ करता था कि इंजीनियर्स के बीच में बहुत पॉपुलर थी ये सब्जेक्ट, लेकिन एंड देयर वर सो मेनी इंजीनियर्स. इन फैक्ट ईश्वर कांदू, आई रिमेंबर, देन देयर वाज अ गर्ल अपराजिता, शी वाज एन इंजीनियर, राइट? एक लंबी कतार थी यार ऐसे लोगों की जो लोग इंजीनियर्स थे, एंड देन दे मैनेज्ड टू क्लियर दिस एग्जाम. अच्छा, electronics and communication, right? Great. Okay, so I'm really happy that now again I'm finding the engineers, because and another batch which is going on, I find that majority of the students are from history. So this trend I have noticed, that history students have started taking more history as an optional paper, and slightly I have seen that the engineers are giving less preference to this optional paper. But then if you guys are coming from non-history background, or you are taking history as an optional paper, right, that's really good. I appreciate that. And in fact, hereafter we'll combinedly make the efforts in order to score very good in the optional paper, right? So this is how we'll proceed. But when it comes to since you guys have already decided, you have made up your mind to opt history as an optional, and then so that's why we won't go for any sort of informal discussion how the things should happen, what are the beauties of history. They are illogical. You have taken this history as an optional paper. Now we have to as I told you, that we will be chasing just one target, that somehow we need to cross a mark that is roughly at least 280, right? So that we need to chase. And for chasing that, there are a couple of things that we need to understand first, right? Normally what happens, the moment you take history as an optional paper, right? So there are certain pre-perceptions, those who have done history in their graduation and masters, I must tell them, yeah, at least they must be having these ideas, but yet it is very much important for me to discuss, because as I have already told you, that I have been teaching in university for last 13 years. And that's why those who have done so many degrees in history, they also face problem. and in fact they face different kind of problems, and those who are non from not from history background, they face different kind of problem. So somehow we have to do the things in such a way that it is helpful for everybody, right? So though maybe those who have done it before, those who have already done some course on history, they must be having some idea, but then yet it is important for you as well to know. So when it comes to history optional, right, history optional, first of all, I would like to bring you out from that mindset which might be disturbing you a lot, right? Now there are a couple of things that you need to understand very carefully. Now there's first idea which is very popular for history, that the optional syllabus is too vast, right? Syllabus is too vast, right? So when it comes to this particular perception, I would like to make one thing very clear to you, that it is a sort of mental perception, and desperately a sort of idea has been circulated that the syllabus is too vast, right? Undoubtedly, if you see the number of pages here, so you will find that so many pages are there in the syllabus. But then we will be following a very different approach to see the history optional. First of all, I must tell you that the syllabus that had been provided to you, right, syllabus that has been provided to you, now this is a very decoded paper, right? It is already very much decoded. In the afternoon session also, I had been discussing when it comes to the syllabus, if we'll see the syllabus of history optional, we'll find that the syllabus, each and everything in the syllabus has been has been given in a very much decoded manner, such as if you take any example, let's say you take any example of, let's say, Mahajanpada period. Let's say for sake of example, we are taking Mahajanpada period. Mahajanpada period. So in Mahajanpada period, in fact, you'll find that everything has been categorically being given. In fact, I don't know how many of you are following the new website that we have started. And in fact, in this website, keep on checking this website, because this is really going to be quite helpful for you, because there are so many things I'll be uploading, right? Now, this is the website, right? And this is the official syllabus, and this is the a topic wise breakdown. So I have provided both the things here. You know why? That's exactly the same thing I was willing to discuss. Now if we go to the official syllabus, let's say I have written what? Mahajanpada period. This is what I have written here, right? So let's say this is the Mahajanpada period which has been already given here. So now just by writing this period of Mahajanpada, I think their job must have been done. ठीक है, उनका काम खत्म हो जाता अगर वो सिर्फ एक बात लिख देते कि महाजनपदा, period of Mahajanpada you need to cover. That would have finished their job. But instead of doing that, what do you find? The formation of state, right? This is one of the most important change which is happening here. And when it comes to the formation of state, they have been categorically writing here, one is republicans, right? Republics, and the second is the monarchies. It means that you need to cover both, right? Then it comes to urban centers, the rise of the urban centers. Then it comes to trade routes, economic growth, introduction of coinage, spread of Jainism and Buddhism, rise of Magadha and then the Iranian and the Macedonian invasion and their impacts. So, this is what being given. Now, my question is this. As I already told you that just by writing in syllabus period of Mahajanpada, they could have done their work, right? But then they are not writing that. Rather, they have been asking everything. So as you all know that as far as this period of Mahajanpada is concerned, now this is known for three important developments. One is the state formation, right? The second is basically what? The second is I must say the second is second urbanization. And the third I can say is what? Third is basically Buddhism and Jainism, right? Jainism is not that much important. Buddhism is very much important. So frankly speaking, these are the three topics which are the most important one, which has already been given. But here I have been trying to convey one more thing. Whenever you talk about the vastness of the syllabus, I must tell you very categorically, the syllabus is not vast. You need to identify that what are the things or how the things had to be covered and what are the things that must be covered. That's very important. Now, what happens? This is the syllabus that you see here. But then out of the syllabus, as I did tell you, that there are three important topics that you need to cover. And frankly speaking, if you have covered these three topics carefully, any question which is coming from this particular topic, we'll be able to answer that question. This is my promise to you. Fine. So what is important to be noted down here, the syllabus is not vast. You do not know how to minimize the syllabus, and that's why if you're scared by the syllabus, trust me, right, you should not be very much scared. You need to know that what to cover and how to cover. ये सबसे important सवाल है, और syllabus में जो हर कुछ दिया हुआ है, you don't need to cover it. That's why don't get scared at all of the syllabus. Now let me tell you, any optional paper that you have been taking, honestly, and trust me, because I know couple of teachers, not couple of teachers, many teachers who have been teaching different optional papers, and trust me, for finishing any optional paper, you need at least 5 months. Maybe in a couple of optional papers you require 15 more, less days, and maybe in couple of optionals you require 15 more days. That's the difference between it. So there's a margin of that just 1 month, nothing more than that. And frankly speaking, I have noticed that so many teachers, they cover paper 1 beautifully, but the moment they enter into paper 2, they take the help of more of notes, and then they try to cut it short. These kind of things are being done. That's how they are able to finish the syllabus in slightly early. But then if you have been really covering the extensively the syllabus, in that case, trust me, right, roughly 5.5 months would be needed, and I would be also able to finish the syllabus in 5.5 months. And trust me, every important topic which is there in the syllabus, that will be able to somehow solve it, right? We'll be covering all the important topics. In fact, after sometimes students do ask the question that do they need to read something along with the topic, right? I always used to say, let me cover the topic, and then only you ask this question that now also you feel that you need to read something, and then you say if you say yes, in that case I'll get you the right reading on that, right? So that's why don't worry about that, right? So simply speaking, when it comes to the syllabus, trust me, the syllabus should be covered in a very smart manner, right? And if you have been covering the syllabus in such a smart manner, in that case you do not require too much time. 5.5 months would be more than sufficient. I take more time on ancient, right, and then more time on modern. These are the two areas what I cover in 1.5 months basically, and rest of the areas in 1 month. Frankly speaking, medieval में शायद 20 classes भी sufficient होंगी चीजों को cover करने के लिए. वर्ल्ड में फिर 30-35 क्लासेस चाहिए होती है हमें चीजों को कवर करने के लिए. मोरल ऑफ द स्टोरी इज दिस, राइट? I desperately try to give more time to ancient and modern. The reason is this, if you want to make a choice to write 3 questions from these 2 parts, in that case it would be good for you. Ancient में मुझे लगता है चीजें थोड़ी ज्यादा आसान है, because things are very conceptual. Now it's not necessary that you have so much amount of too many facts, then only you'll be able to write the answers. Not really. In ancient, the things are very different. If you have the concepts, somehow you'll be able to write the answer. Anyways, we'll come to these kind of things. So first of all, don't be under this perception, under this perception that history is too vast, the syllabus is too vast. Not really. आपको थोड़ा smartly पढ़ना है, बस इतना, ठीक है, और इससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं. So come out of this perception. Moving to another thing. Now I'll be talking about both positive and negative, right? That's really very important. You might have come across many times that cover all the PYQs and somehow your syllabus would be over. How many of you trust in this particular fact that just by covering the syllabus or covering the PYQs, you'll be able to you'll be able to finish the syllabus? How many of you believe that just by covering the PYQs, you'll be able to do it? I believe that you must have done some sort of homework before joining this optional paper. तो अगर आपने homework किया है तो आप मुझे बताइए कि कितने लोगों को ये लगता है कि आप अगर सिर्फ PYQs कवर करते हैं तो आपका सिलेबस खत्म हो जाएगा. Nowadays they have been asking more dynamic questions. This is what I wanted to listen from you, right? So I'm not saying that PYQs are not important, and this is the reason because of what I did tell you one thing, that PYQs are very important, but then you need to know both, the positive and negative as well, right? The positive and negative, both you need to know. Undoubtedly there are repetition, right? Undoubtedly there are repetition of the questions. I'm not saying, but I'm also not saying 100% repetition is there. And in fact, I have noticed that couple of times students are getting misguided by many mentors, by seniors also, that cover all the PYQs and the things should be done. Of course, we need to cover the PYQs, we have to practice the PYQs, and this is one of the positive aspects. Yes, you can find the repetition of the questions from the PYQs, right? But then there are certain negative things also. What you need to know, that there is not exact repetition of the PYQs. There are certain in certain occasions you'll find that the themes are being changed. So they have asked a question, let's say Ganasanghas. There used to be a very popular question earlier on Ganasanghas, that to what extent you believe that there were Ganasanghas, right? Matlab, you have to just write the debate whether it was a Ganasangha or not. That is something. But then what happens further, like, they have started asking very different kind of questions on the Ganasanghas. What factors were there which led to the decline of the Ganasanghas? The point is that if we'll keep on, like, if we'll keep on studying by making the PYQs as the base, like, he'll be stuck at one point of time, and somehow nobody will be there to save you or rescue you, like, in the examination hall, if these kind of bouncers are coming. Though you have options, like, I totally agree. And in fact, we should always keep in mind, like, that we are always having the optional, like, options. हमारे पास हमेशा ये options होता है कि हम questions choose कर सके. But the point is that, like, if we'll see the smartness of UPSC, we'll find that there are two questions that are always doable, and the third question is always like a sort of trap. जानबूझ के ऐसा क्वेश्चन देते हैं जो बहुत इजीली आपने रेगुलर कंटेंट में नहीं पढ़ा होगा, तो जानबूझ के ऐसे क्वेश्चन देते हैं, and that is the reason you should be always ready for these kind of bouncers. So son, if you have, like, if you have been studying history, so PYQ is something which is like a guideline for us, undoubtedly. But at the same time, like, we also need to deal with the new themes also, which are, like, somehow possible, like, possible in, like, to be asked in form of question. So मैं कहना ये चाह रहा हूँ कि हम सिर्फ PYQ based preparation नहीं करेंगे, क्योंकि PYQ based preparation करने में क्या होता है कि there are always chances that, like, in two questions will be doing performing good, but, like, in one question we might get stuck, and this is going to create problem for us. तो हमारे पास इतनी विजडम होनी चाहिए, ठीक है, कि हम थोड़ा बहुत, सबसे पहली बात है कि while reading, while studying, we are not covering only those themes which have been asked in PYQs, rather we'll be also covering those themes which are probable. And so far, like, I started teaching from 2013, and since then I have been, like, I kept on telling कि देखो ये क्वेश्चन मुझे लगता है कि आज नहीं तो कल यूपीएससी पूछेगी, एंड ट्रस्ट मी, लाइक, विद इन द स्पैन ऑफ 5 years दैट क्वेश्चन इज अनडाउटेडली कमिंग इन द एग्जामिनेशन हॉल. चाहे पेपर 1 हो, चाहे पेपर 2 हो, किसी भी एरिया में मैंने बोला है कि मुझे ये क्वेश्चंस, लाइक, मुझे पता चल रहा है कि ये क्वेश्चन आज नहीं तो कल जो है यूपीएससी पूछेगी. और ऐसा क्यों होता है? बिकॉज सिंस आई हैव गिवन, लाइक, टू मच टाइम टू द सब्जेक्ट. I started studying history from 1997. So roughly I have completed 30 years, like 28, 29 years. And then since I have been part of the academy, so somehow I keep on coming to know about, like, the new developments, the new things, like, what is going on, in the circle of historians. So somehow this information is also helping me to locate the topics that, okay, like, there is a possibility of this question to be asked. So we won't be, like, somehow covering the things completely based on the PYQs. Rather, we'll be also including the new themes. And in fact, like, I have noticed that there were so many, like, popular mentors are there, and they have been teaching always whatever is being asked in the question previously. Now you will find so many new themes also in the paper, and in fact, as I told you, that in coming 4-5 years we'll find these questions in the examination that I can bet on, right? Okay, so this is something also that you need to keep in mind, that our, like, preparation would not be completely based on the PYQs, rather we'll be covering the new themes also. So this is one format that you should keep in mind, that don't, like, get scared of the vastness, like, and then don't make yourself completely relied on the PYQs, or based, like, completely on the PYQs. That idea is incorrect, because as, like, somebody was just now saying that now the questions are coming, they are dynamic. And in fact, one more suggestion I'll give you. Those, like, who are new, for them there is one suggestion, right? For they, like, those who are completely new to the subject, like, they are engineers or they are coming from the other background. Now you should always keep in mind that the subject is about concept plus content, like, and plus historiography, right? Historiography. What is the purpose of telling you, like, this? I just want to highlight one thing. Concepts are very important. Now, why is the concepts very important? Like, that I must tell you categorically. Content इसलिए बहुत, sorry, concept इसलिए बहुत important है. Mostly what happens, whenever you decide to take history as an optional paper, your primary focus remain on what, like, content. ठीक है, आपको लगता है कि just you need to find the content from somewhere, and that's how I have noticed, like, that the notes are very popular in market. I won't take the name of, like, those notes which are very popular in market, but I can tell you just one thing: there are a couple of notes which are, like, very popular in market. And sometimes students believe, like, that they can clear this exam by the help or with the help of this, like, these notes, which is totally incorrect. Fine. So it is not about content only, because content can be covered through notes. And in fact, the content is there also, but the concepts cannot be covered. Avani, I'll come to all these dimensions. आज का purpose यही है कि मैं यही सारी चीजें बताऊंगा, ठीक है? So I'll request you to have some patience, ठीक है? And then of course I'll give you the chance to ask the questions also. हम बाद में questions भी लेंगे. अगर मैं कुछ भूल गया तो आप मुझे बाद में रिमाइंड कर दीजिएगा. तो आज हम कुछ बेसिक बात ही करने के लिए आए हैं. This is an orientation session, right? But let me please finish my things first, and then I'll come to your questions. So what I'm trying to tell you that somehow they believe that they can prepare the subject only with the help of some content, because they believe that contents are very important, and there is over emphasis these days on historiography. बहुत सारे historians आपको लगता है कि अगर आप लिख रहे हैं will be able to somehow get very good marks. That is a perception which is very popular. I even refuse that as well, right? और बहुत प्रैक्टिकल अनुभव है, हर साल बच्चे निकल रहे हैं, and then I always used to ask them कि how many historians you have written, right? And always the answer is coming कि not in all the questions they have written. In couple of questions they have mentioned one or two scholars. In debate questions, undoubtedly you need to mention more scholars. That's how it is. Anyways, we'll come to that question, that part later. So the first thing is about the notes. So don't ever try to make your preparation based on the notes, because notes are never appropriate. And frankly, I always used to suggest this thing to the students, right? Those who have been doing the self preparation for this optional paper, as ये भी एक बहुत popular notion है कि history एक ऐसा subject है जो खुद से हो जाएगा. एंथ्रोपोलॉजी एंड सोशियोलॉजी ये सारे नहीं होंगे. क्यों? उनको लगता है कि इसमें थिंकर्स है, जब तक कोई थिंकर समझाने वाला नहीं होगा तब तक जो है उनसे नहीं हो सकता है. यही वजह है कि लोग जो है बाकी ऑप्शन में उनको लगता है कि नहीं, किसी मेंटोर की जरूरत है, जबकि हिस्ट्री ऑप्शन में दैट्स अ पॉपुलर फीलिंग दैट नो इट कैन बी डन बाय देयर ओन. और उनका ये भरोसा इसलिए है क्योंकि उनको लगता है कि जो है नोट्स अवेलेबल है मार्केट में. एंड समटाइम्स आई हैव नोटिस दैट पीपल हैव बीन ऑफरिंग 10K पेजेस नोट्स, ठीक है, 10,000 पेज के नोट्स है. आप अगर 10,000 पेज पढ़ेंगे, और 10,000 में मैं ट्रस्ट मी मैं बता रहा हूं, इसमें से 7,000 पेजेस, इनफैक्ट मैंने ज्यादा बोल दिया कम बोल दिया, इनफैक्ट मैं बोलूंगा 8,000 पेजेस जो है वो एकदम वर्थलेस है, ठीक है, उसकी कोई यूटिलिटी नहीं है. बट ठीक है, आपको नहीं समझ में आता है कि आपको पढ़ना चाहिए या नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए, बट आपको लगता है कि ये नोट्स में है, किसी समझदार इंसान ने बनाई होगी, तो आप वो पढ़ लेते हैं. सो हमारे दिमाग में ओवरलोड करने की गुंजाइश नहीं है. यूपीएससी में तो खासकर कतई नहीं है, क्योंकि यूपीएससी में ऑलरेडी बहुत सारे पेपर है जो जनरल स्टडीज में करना है आपको, ठीक है. तो देयर आर सो मेनी पेपर्स दैट यू नीड टू कवर इन जनरल स्टडीज. देन एसए इज देयर, देन सीसैट इज देयर, प्री पार्ट इज देयर. सो देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स व्हिच आर देयर. तो ऐसे में हम ये इनजस्टिस नहीं कर सकते हैं कि हम अननेसेसरी कंटेंट को अपनी दिमाग में जगह दें, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली इट इज कंज्यूमिंग स्पेस. यार वो तो जीबी तो फिक्स है ना, जितने भी टेराबाइट है दिमाग का वो तो फिक्स है, तो हम उसको नहीं कर सकते हैं. अगर किसी को सेल्फ प्रिपरेशन करनी है, ऑफ कोर्स इट इज नॉट योर टारगेट, इन दैट केस इट इज ऑलवेज एडवाइजेबल टू रीड द बुक्स रादर देन नोट्स. किताबें पढ़िए, अगर खुद से करनी है किताबें पढ़िए, क्योंकि कॉन्सेप्ट्स जो है कहां से आती है, वो किताबों से आती है. और क्यों ऐसा कह रहा हूं मैं, क्योंकि आपने खुद ही कहा कि क्वेश्चंस जो है थोड़े नए थीम्स पे आने लगे हैं, तो वो नए थीम्स कभी भी नोट्स कवर नहीं करेगा, क्योंकि नोट्स बनाते समय ठीक एक ही चीज दिमाग में रहती है कि कौन सा क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था. और यही स्टूडेंट की माइंडसेट भी होती है कि उनको लगता है कि अच्छा ये क्वेश्चन है दैट कैन बी आंसर्ड विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस नोट, सो दीज आर द बेस्ट मटेरियल दे फाइंड, व्हिच इज पार्शियली करेक्ट, पार्शियली इनकरेक्ट आल्सो, द स्याद माधव जर्नलिज्म, फाइन. So that's how you come out of this perception it is somehow useful. So basically when you understand the subject now, the concepts are something which is very important, and trust me, without the concept, if you have been really trying to cover the optional paper, in that case you'll be in a mistake, you'll be in a problem, I must say. You'll be just wasting your time, और फिर आपके लिए दिक्कत हो जाएगी. कम से कम खासकर पेपर 1 में मैंने देखा है कि कॉन्सेप्ट की जरूरत बहुत होती है. कॉन्सेप्ट्स आपको दो तरीके से हेल्प करते हैं, ठीक है. What are these two ways in which concepts are helping? First of all, I'll say locate the questions, right? Several times I have noticed that whatever is being asked in the question, students are not able to even locate. मतलब उनको समझ नहीं आ रहा कि इस क्वेश्चन के सही मायने क्या, what is the right meaning of that question, they are not able to understand. And if they are not able to understand understand the real demand of the question, right? The demand of the question, in that case how do you believe that this answer the answer would be written by that person would be exactly targeting whatever is being asked. अब उनको क्या करते हैं, यूजुअली लोग कंप्लेन करते हैं कि हिस्ट्री में नंबर नहीं आता है. आई विल से इन ए डिफरेंट वे. आई वोंट से कि हिस्ट्री में नंबर नहीं आता, आपने जो पूछा वो लिखा नहीं, तो इस केस में आप कैसे एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं? अब मान लीजिए आपने आज तक पढ़ा है कि जो है गण संघर्ष जो है क्या थे, what are the specific niches or the features of gana sanghas, and suddenly that question is coming, you need to write about the factors which led to the decline of the gana sanghas, right? Now there is no there was no correlation between the two. Let's say, if our concept is very sound, so first of all, we'll be able to understand that the demand of question is altogether different. So if you have been writing about Gana Sanghas, how can you expect of getting marks? Like, you must be given 0, and UPSC does give 0 also. Like, I'm telling you honestly. Fine. So आपको क्वेश्चंस लोकेट करने में एक तो हेल्प मिलती है, ठीक है, दैट्स नंबर 1. सो एटलीस्ट आपको समझ में आता है कि इसमें वो नहीं पूछा है जो आप पढ़ के आए हैं, इसमें कुछ और पूछा है. तो जब आपके पास कॉन्सेप्ट्स होते हैं तो आप क्या करते हैं, एटलीस्ट यू आर इन ए कंडीशन फ्रेम द आंसर. अगर आपके पास वो है, अगर आपके पास कॉन्सेप्ट जो है वो क्लियर है, तो आप कम से कम उस हालात में होते हैं कि आप इसको फ्रेम कर सके कि अच्छा इस तरीके से मैं अगर इसको लेके जाऊं तो ये पॉइंट है. और जरूरी नहीं कि हर कुछ जो किताबों में पढ़ा है वही लिख रहे हैं. ऐसा हो सकता है कि अल्टीमेटली यू हैव बीन गेटिंग सर्टेन आइडियाज कि भाई जनसंघर्ष क्यों डिक्लाइन करे, क्या किया होगा, क्या लाइक हाउ कम दे मस्ट हैव डिक्लाइन. तो आपको एक चीज याद आ जाए कि ठीक है, मॉडर्न एम्पायर जो उस समय एक्सपैंड कर रहा है, और एक्सपेंशन में वो लोग जो है ओलिगार्कीज को भी वो लोग जो है वो ओवरकम कर रहे हैं, उसको लेके अंदर अपने आ रहे हैं. एक पॉइंट हो गया. तो मुझे क्या लगता है कि अगर आपका कॉन्सेप्ट बहुत साउंड है तो इसमें आप ऐसी चीजों को आप इंटीग्रेट कर सकते हैं. So this is how, like, in framing the answer, the concepts are quite helpful. So in these two regards, I must say, and in fact, like, I must say, if there are some bouncer questions, बाउंसर मतलब आपने बिल्कुल नहीं पढ़ा है, एक ऐसी टाइप की क्वेश्चन आ गई, या कई बार वो लोग इंटरलिंकेजेस के क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं, बहुत पॉपुलर है खासकर पेपर 1 में, where they ask the questions like based on interlinkages कैसे, like they have been connecting two periods, they have been connecting like one domain with the another domain, right? So that's how they keep on making the interlinkages, the way sometimes they connect the art and culture with the political development, the art and culture with the social development or economic developments, right? They try to make these kind of interlinkages. The problem is this, now it's impossible for us that we are reading everything directly, right? वो संभव नहीं है. लेकिन अगर आपका कॉन्सेप्ट शुरू से बहुत क्लियर है, आपने शुरू से ये इंटरलिंकेजेस वाली जो है अप्रोच रखी है, तो एग्जामिनेशन हॉल में अगर आपने नहीं भी पढ़ा है वो टॉपिक, एटलीस्ट विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाट एग्जैक्टली कैन बी रिटन इन दिस आंसर. And maybe you are not getting like 60% or 65% marks, which is quite possible, like to get 65% marks also in the question. Maybe you are getting just 40% marks. That is okay. But instead of getting 0, if you are getting 45% marks, that's also quite helpful. So this is how, like, you need to develop this tendency of having the concepts very clear. So once you are very much clear with the concept, I think then you should talk about what content. You won't be able to somehow convey this concept without having the content, right? So that's why content is needed. But then if you believe that the content is the primary requirement, in that case it is incorrect. पहले concepts build करेंगे, फिर उसके बाद हम उसी concept में content fix करेंगे जो हमें exam में answer के बता लिखना है, क्योंकि answers में तो होते content ही है. And then it comes to the third thing, and what is it? This is historiography. Now I must tell you, the historiography is the last requirement of the answers. Now those who are from academics, ठीक है, they must be realizing one fact कि आप जो है जो अकेडमिक्स में पढ़ते हैं, दैट इज प्रिसाइजली हिस्टोरियोग्राफी बेस्ड, ठीक है. उसमें सबसे ज्यादा एम्फेसिस कहां होता है? हिस्टोरियोग्राफी में होता है. Because yeah, this is officially true that ultimately the moment you talk about history, now history has been precisely written by historians, right? Nobody else has written it. So that's how everything that you read in form of history, ultimately it's being written by like a historian. That argument is being given by some historian, and that's how ultimately you cannot separate history with the historiography. That's very much part of it. But then the nature of these exams is very different, and that's how I told you that for the new student it is important to understand this. But the students, like those who have already studied history in their graduation level, then post graduation level, now you should understand it very carefully कि when it comes to the demand in the UPSC examination, that is slightly different, right? जब मैं यूपीएससी लिख रहा था, मैंने शुरुआत की लिखनी यूपीएससी, at that point of time I was already in MPhil. And when I was seeing the content of in the market for history optional, I always used to get confused कि there is a very different kind of thing that we study in the academics. एकदम चीजें अलग होती है, और हम यहाँ जो पढ़ रहे हैं वो चीजें एकदम से अलग है. तो फिर इतना फासला क्यों, इतना जो है इतना डिफरेंस क्यों है? तो मैंने अपने टीचर से बोला, ठीक है, जो दो काफी वेटरन से वो, तो मैंने पूछा कि सर ये डिफरेंस क्यों है? तो उन्होंने कहा कि यूपीएससी और एकेडमिक्स में कम से कम 20 से 25 साल का डिफरेंस है, मतलब वो इतनी पीछे चल रही है। तो इसका मतलब है कि ओवर द पीरियड लाइक ना ये चेंज होगा, मतलब ये जो है दस्तूर बदलेगा और धीरे धीरे चीजें आएंगी। आई स्टिल रिमेंबर that when I started teaching history optional in 2013, like nobody, any teacher also did not know about historiography. किसी को पता नहीं था हिस्टोरियोग्राफी के बारे में, क्योंकि यूपीएससी में चीज थी ही नहीं। यूपीएससी में आपको पॉइंटर्स लिखने होते थे, सिर्फ आंसर्स लिखने होते थे। बट चूंकि मैंने हिस्ट्री को उस तरीके से समझा, तो मैंने धीरे धीरे करके हिस्टोरियोग्राफी को इंटीग्रेट करना शुरू किया। एंड देन ओवर द पीरियड आई रियलाइज दैट दैट्स नॉट लाइक बिकॉज ऑफ मी। आई टोल्ड यू दैट द वे माय टीचर सजेस्टेड कि over the period you will find the integration of historians and all these things even in UPSC also, and that started happening. So now it's being integrated. But if we'll try to create a replica of the academics over here, like that won't work. ठीक है, अगर आपको लगता है कि आप इसी तरीके से एकदम जिस तरीके से आंसर्स लिखते हैं, everything that you have been writing ultimately it is quoting some historian and you believe that your answer is very good, like trust me, I know couple of such students also जिनकी हिस्टोरियोग्राफी बहुत अच्छी है, इसलिए अच्छी है क्योंकि वो अकेडमिक से है। ठीक है, लेकिन उनके साथ प्रॉब्लम क्या होती है, उनके साथ प्रॉब्लम ये होती है कि हर चीज वो वही लिखते हैं जो उनको पता है कि किसी हिस्टोरियन ने कही। जरूरी नहीं कि हम हर वो चीज लिखे जो किसी हिस्टोरियन ने कही, अल्टीमेटली हर बात किसी हिस्टोरियन ने कही है, और वो सारी चीजें हमें पता हो, यूपीएससी में इतनी रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है। सो फिर किस तरीके की हिस्टोरियोग्राफी चाहिए? लाइक अकेडमिक्स में आपको मैंने पहले भी कहा, यूपीएससी में हर चीज हिस्टोरियोग्राफी बेस्ड नहीं होती है, दिया किसी हिस्टोरियन ने 100%, क्योंकि हिस्ट्री हम लिख ही नहीं रहे, वी आर नॉट राइटिंग हिस्ट्री, वी आर नॉट क्रिएटिंग हिस्ट्री, राइट? So ultimately this is written by someone, but then it is not necessary for us like that we have been knowing everything. And that's why I'll suggest you, at least like for those who have already studied history and historiography, that you have to minimize yourself. ठीक है, आपको यहाँ थोड़ा कम करना पड़ेगा, and you have to understand like the relevant historiography. What is relevant? Like sometimes the questions are coming in form of statement. तो आपके पास इतनी विजडम होनी चाहिए कि आपको थोड़ा आइडिया पता चल जाए कि ये कितनी जो है किसने दिया होगा या किस टाइप के स्कॉलर्स ने दिया होगा। नाम याद है तो दैट्स लाइक मच 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 बेटर। अगर नाम याद नहीं है तब भी कोई बात नहीं, हमें स्कूल पता होना चाहिए कि एटलीस्ट किस स्कूल से है। तो एक चीज मैं आपको सजेस्ट करूंगा, तो जो लोग नए हैं वो तो खैर उतना ही जानेंगे जितना मैं क्लास में बताऊंगा, तो उनके लिए तो ठीक है। जो लोग पुराने हैं सब्जेक्ट में, ठीक है, उनको ये चीज ध्यान में रखनी पड़ेगी कि यू हैव टू लिमिट योरसेल्फ, एंड इफ देयर इज एन ओवरडोज ऑफ द हिस्टोरियोग्राफी it will bounce back। ये ठीक है, पलट के वापस आएगा, और ट्रस्ट मी इसका बहुत फायदा नहीं है। तो बहुत आजकल मैंने देखा है कि एक नया ट्रेंड चल रहा है कि किताबों के भी नाम लिख देंगे। ठीक है यार, कहीं पे अगर मुझे लगा कि जो है ये लिखना बेहतर होगा तो इन दैट केस लाइक इट इज ओके, ठीक है, हम लिख सकते हैं, राइट? सो लाइक दैट्स समथिंग व्हिच इज आल्सो यू नीड टू रिमेंबर। एक और चीज है पुराने लोगों के लिए, पुराने मतलब जो है दोज हु हैव स्टडीड द सब्जेक्ट, कि when you study the subject in the academics you focus on major dimension only, right? You focus on major dimensions only, major dimensions से क्या मतलब है? In academics you have been writing just 4 answers in 3 hours, right? In UPSC what happened, you have been writing 19 answers in 3 hours, so you can understand the difference between the two. So of course when you have been asked like one question in academics, these are almost of the broader dimension, वो कोई डिबेट है, पूरी डिस्कशन है, राइट? वो उसको पूछेंगे एग्जाम में। बट यूपीएससी जब भी क्वेश्चन फ्रेम करते तो उनको पता होता है कि देयर इज अ लिमिटेशन ऑफ टाइम एंड स्पेस, and that's why instead of getting into major dimensions like they enter into what the minor dimensions. Now what happens in the academics, like you focus more on major dimension, you ignore the minor dimensions, but then this is one of the areas like where UPSC plays, and that's why you have to get deeper into history and you have to learn about these minor dimensions as well, and that's how somehow I'll be able to do the justice with these kind of questions, right? So those who are new, like they should focus on the concepts, right? Those who are like those who have already studied the subject, they need to minimize themselves in couple of places. The information what you have collected in last like couple of years, undoubtedly they would be quite helpful for you, without any doubt आपके लिए बहुत ही बेहतर होगा वो information, क्योंकि जो इंफॉर्मेशन आपने 3 साल या 5 साल में या 6 साल में कवर किया है, उस जाहिर सी बात है इतना लंबा अरसा देने के बाद जो है द अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड द कॉन्सेप्ट एंड द कंटेंट लाइक दैट यू आर हैविंग, दैट वुड बी ऑलवेज गिविंग एन एक्स्ट्रा एज। क्योंकि यूपीएससी भी अपने नोटिफिकेशन में लिखती है कि आपको ग्रेजुएशन लेवल से थोड़ी बेहतर इंफॉर्मेशन और मास्टर लेवल से थोड़ी कम इंफॉर्मेशन आपको चाहिए। इसका मतलब है कि व्हाट इज देयर एक्सपेक्टेशन, and those who have studied like their graduation, they have done their graduation with the subject, they must be knowing कि with every paper there's a reading list coming, and that reading list used to be very vast. वो एंशियंट के लिए खाली उपिंदर सिंह नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, ठीक है। आपको लगता है कि एंशियंट पढ़ खत्म हो गया अगर आपने उपिंदर सिंह खत्म कर लिया, तो बहुत ही रॉन्ग परसेप्शन है, वो बिल्कुल भी परसेप्शन नहीं, वो गलत परसेप्शन है। सो ये कुछ बातें हैं जो आपको ध्यान में रखनी, दीज आर सर्टेन माइनर थिंग्स दैट यू नीड टू कीप इन माइंड, एंड इसको ध्यान में रख के वी हैव टू स्टार्ट आवर सिलेबस, फाइन। सो now coming to your important questions, first of all I'll be answering. So somebody has asked how to make the notes, fine। तो जब आप नोट्स बनाने की बात आती है तो नोट्स हम कैसे बनाते हैं? Frankly speaking, in my classes you don't need to make any notes, right? What is the procedure I follow, right? So I always used to tell कि what is the next topic that we are going to cover, हम कौन सा next topic cover करने वाले हैं, and I ask you to read it from two sources. One is the old NCERT, and this old NCERT, of course, if it is ancient, then R.S. Sharma. If it is medieval, then Satish Chandra. If it is modern, then Bipin Chandra, and then if it is let's say world, then Arjun Dev, ठीक है। So ये चार ancients जो है वो चार old NCERTs है। So I'll expect you guys to read the NCERTs, right? And in fact, there will be some days window once we begin with the first topic. So you finish this particular NCERT, at least one NCERT जो हम जहां से शुरू कर रहे हैं. That's one thing. And every time before the classes begin, right, I'll give you some few pages notes, right? आपको ये क्लास के साथ साथ पढ़नी है, ठीक है? आपको ये क्लास के साथ साथ पढ़नी है, ठीक है? Are you going to integrate them in your notes? Not really. This is a sort of for the conceptual understanding and for the enrichment of the content, like we have been covering these things. The actual content that you are going to use, from which actual content that you are going to use for answer writing, right? For answer, that will be provided you in the class itself, right? वो हम class पे करेंगे, class itself, right? So how do I do the take the classes? ठीक है, I just pick up, let's say I took this महाजनपदा period. ठीक है, आज हम महाजनपदा का एग्जाम्पल ले रहे हैं, बार बार अगर हम करें तो महाजनपदा का एग्जाम्पल ले रहे हैं, ठीक है? महाजनपदा में I'll tell you कि this is one dimension, this is one dimension, this is one, this is one. These are the 4 dimensions. Then I'll tell you कि okay, in these dimensions, these are 2 sub dimensions, here there is 2 sub dimensions, or here 3 dimensions. So that's all cover it in this way, ठीक है? And then in a broader structure we'll keep on fitting all these things, ठीक है? जैसे मैंने मान लीजिए महाजनपदा शुरू किया, तो what would be my approach to see the महाजनपदा? कि भाई महाजनपदा में there's one important dimension is the second urbanization. So if it is about second urbanization, in that case what you need to do, second urbanization में क्या क्या जो टॉपिक्स हो सकते हैं? तो फर्स्ट विल स्टार्ट विद द ब्रॉडर कवरेज ऑफ सेकंड अर्बनाइजेशन, एंड देन विल कीप ऑन पिकिंग द थीम्स, और उन थीम्स पे only there are certain themes from what the possibility of the question is there. So whenever there is a possibility of the questions, we'll try to expand ourselves, jahan se nahi hai we'll keep ourselves minimized, and that's how I keep on covering the things, right? The notes, so when we'll be covering the themes or sub themes, or let's say topics in the class, right? So first I start with the concept. So what is the broader concept? If I'm starting with the urbanization, I'll tell you that what is the broader concept of urbanization, right? And then I'll say that the necessary content, agar aap answer likh rahe hain to you cannot write the answer only with the help of concepts. Now in order to justify that concept, you need to include certain content also. So I'll provide you that content also. Let's say what are the points that should be there? That's number 1. What are the examples that we should quote? What are the sources that you should refer, right? And then most importantly, the third thing also, what is the historiography? So everything would be provided you in the class itself, and in fact the class material would be the final notes. Once you are done with that, and when you talk about NCERT, that would be part of it. When you talk about Upinder Singh, that would be part of it, or any book that you take the name of, right? कम से कम जितनी आप पढ़ सकते हैं तो उससे कई गुना ज्यादा किताबों से कंटेंट लेके जो है आपको एक जगह पे कंपाइल होकर मिल जाएगी. So this is the notes you'll be preparing. Now it is depending up to you that whether you want to make like further notes or not. अगर आप चाहते हैं कि एक स्मॉलर नोट्स आप अपने लिए बनाएं, ठीक है, जो सिर्फ आपके लिए हो, ठीक है, आपके लिए मतलब आपने एक कंटेंट देख लिया, अब आपको लगता है कि ये जो है 10 पॉइंट्स है जो आपके पास होने चाहिए, ठीक है, आप सिर्फ 10 पॉइंट को लिख के आप एक अपने लिए नोट्स बना सकते हैं. सो यू कैन गो फॉर मेकिंग स्मॉलर नोट्स, राइट, बट नॉट एन एक्सटेंसिव नोट बिकॉज द क्लास नोट्स इटसेल्फ वुड बी एन एक्सटेंसिव नोट्स, लाइक दैट इज वन थिंग दैट यू नीड टू नो. तो आपको अलग से बस आप जो है शॉर्टर नोट्स और प्रिसाइज नोट्स जो है वो बना सकते हैं, बट जरूरी नहीं कि आप जो है बहुत एक्सटेंसिव वो बनाए नोट्स बनाए, वो हम क्लास में कवर कर लेंगे. फाइन. Any other question if you have like from the generalist thing, because now I have to discuss something else. Okay, sir, while self preparing I have got note, I also got to know the historians are must in answer, historians are must in answers, like also making notes like the old NCERT. I try to remember historians each like a chapter like VN Misra, Stone Age, DP अग्रवाल, चालकोलिथिक. आई ये जो आप कह रहे हैं ना, ये हिस्टोरियन से ज्यादा आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट है. ये जस्ट अ सेकेंड, लेट मी फर्स्ट आंसर अरमान. ये आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट है, ठीक है, इनका नाम हम इस्तेमाल करेंगे, बिल्कुल इस्तेमाल करेंगे, और इनका इस्तेमाल मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा कम होता है. जो हिस्टोरियंस है, जो इनसे जो प्रोमिनेंटली जो है आर्ग्यूमेंट्स देते हैं, वो इसमें से बहुत कम स्कॉलर्स है जो आर्ग्यूमेंट स्टाइल में बातें कर रहे हैं, वो लोग आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट है, दे आर लीडिंग आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट, राइट. सो उसके लिए तो हम करेंगे, वो हम क्लास में कर लेंगे. तो अब आपको हिस्टोग्राफी के लिए बिल्कुल परेशान होने की जरूरत नहीं है. I know that what has to be covered and how it has to be covered. Like, just leave it on me. Fine. Okay, somebody is asking a question on map. Now I'll be covering the map section, right, in a very different way, right? In a very different way. Like nobody else covers like this in this way. Fine. How I'm going to do it? I use the digital material, right? I use the डिजिटल मटेरियल मतलब मैं कोई पीडीएफ की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, ठीक है. So do you need to prepare GS paper one separately? I'll be coming to your question and be right, let me first answer this, right. ये सबके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है. डिजिटल मटेरियल क्या है, ठीक है. डिजिटल मटेरियल मतलब आपको एक लॉगिन आईडी और पासवर्ड मिलेगा एंड विल बी एबल टू एक्सेस, okay, you'll be able to access like a digital map, right. You'll be able to access a digital map. I have taken the help of like a Google map, right. I have taken the help of Google map, और उस Google मैप का इस्तेमाल करके मैंने एक ऐसा नोट्स बनाया है, ठीक है. दैट नोट शुड बी लाइक दिस, कि दिस इज द पेज व्हिच इज कमिंग, राइट. एंड देन लेट्स से दिस इज द मैप ऑफ इंडिया, ठीक है. ठीक है, मैं अभी रफली बना रहा हूँ, लाइटली मत इसको लाइटली लीजिएगा, ठीक है. लेट्स से दिस इज द मैप ऑफ इंडिया, and then what is like being provided to you. So topic of cancer is there, like गलत जगह से मैंने पास कर दिया. Anyways, so there are a couple of like ये latitude and longitudes are being provided, and sometimes you'll find the like ये the provinces are also being there, ठीक है. तो provinces हो गए मान लीजिए, ठीक है, this provinces हो गए, वो होगा. एक ऐसा भी मैं मटेरियल डेवलप कर रहा हूँ जो आपको एक्सेसिबल होगा, जिसमें एक होंगे जो बिना प्रोविंसेस वाले होंगे और सिंपल मैप होगा, और एक होगा जिसमें प्रोविंसेस वाले होंगे. क्यों? क्योंकि दोनों तरीके के ये लोग ऑल्टरनेटिव पूछ रहे हैं, तो आई विल बी इंक्लूडिंग बोथ ऑफ देम. नाउ देयर विल बी ड्रॉप डाउन हियर, ठीक है. देयर विल बी ड्रॉप डाउन हियर. सो द मोमेंट लेट्स से यू हैव टू प्रैक्टिस द नियोलिथिक मैप, ठीक है. सो लेट्स से द मोमेंट विल गो टू नियोलिथिक. मान लीजिए मैंने नियोलिथिक दो पार्ट में कर रखा है, तो नियोलिथिक 1, नियोलिथिक 2. आप नियोलिथिक 1 पे जाएंगे, द मोमेंट विल click on नियोलिथिक 1, दिस मैप वुड कम like and then in this particular map we will find that certain pointers should be there. That's it. Now undoubtedly it is a Neolithic map, right? So there will be the Neolithic sites only. Let's assume कि there will be Neolithic sites only. वो Neolithic sites होंगे उसमें, और कुछ नहीं होगा. There will be a sort of like sites only which are there. Fine. अभी what you need to do, like the moment you take the cursor to like cursor to this point, right? So there will be a drop down, ठीक है. जब आप एक खुल के आएगा and all these necessary information would be there. Now this is good for like studying the map. and this is simultaneously good for what? It is simultaneously good for practicing also. So this is the digital map, like that we'll be getting access to. Fine. Along with this, there would be a class also, right? So जैसे मान लीजिए नियोलिथिक है, तो नियोलिथिक पे there would be a class, and in this class we discuss like first the general things, right? That whenever you have been dealing with any particular topic, so let's say Neolithic topic, what are the basic requirements that should be there in the there should be, it should be there in your let's say in your description. There will be site specific information as well. तो एक क्लास में हम जनरल इन्फॉर्मेशन में ज्यादा फोकस करेंगे, क्योंकि साइट की इन्फॉर्मेशन तो हम उस पर भी बात कर सकते हैं, मतलब वो तो देयर ऑलरेडी, इट इज देयर इन द नोट. तो जर्नलिस्टिक इन्फॉर्मेशन की इफ इट इज नियोलिथिक, राइट, इफ इज अ क्लास ऑन नियोलिथिक, so what information they are expecting, like from you in the description. So some journalistic information, some site specific information, and then since it will be there always in your access, so like मतलब at least for 1.5 year, like it will be there in your access. आप ये फिगर आउट कर सकते हैं कि जो है आप लगातार प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं. So along with the class it will be there. So this is like my criteria of covering the map, and the moment we'll start the map section, like somehow you'll be able to use it, and then you'll realize that how it makes the difference, right? So this is how I'm going to cover the map. Okay. Coming to Anvi's question. So is that clear to you? Like whosoever asked this question, Anurag. आपको कुछ नहीं करना, यू डोंट नीड टू कवर एनी नोट्स, ठीक है? आप बस खोलिए कि मुझे प्रैक्टिस करना है, मैंने क्लास में कवर कर दिया, एंड देन यू नीड टू कीप ऑन प्रैक्टिसिंग, लाइक कीप ऑन प्रैक्टिसिंग फ्रीक्वेंटली. दैट्स इट. दिस इज व्हाट यू नीड टू डू. सो आई थिंक दिस इज अ इनोवेशन डन बाय मी. आई होप यू लाइक दिस इनोवेशन. अनवी, आप कहते हैं जीएस पेपर 1 के लिए कोई अलग से प्रिपरेशन करनी है? नो, नॉट रियली. ठीक है, आप हिस्ट्री ऑप्शन करने के बाद आपको हिस्ट्री के क्वेश्चन तो बहुत आसानी से आप सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. Apart from history, even you'll be getting the help of what, like you'll be getting the help of in society area also. तो सोसाइटी में आपको काफी हेल्प मिलेगी क्वेश्चंस करने में, और आपको एसे और एथिक्स वाले पेपर में भी आपको काफी हेल्प मिलेगी. तो आपको हमेशा पढ़ते समय ये चीजें ध्यान रखनी है कि अगर मुझे एसे में इंटीग्रेट करना है तो मैं कैसे करूंगा या करूंगी, और अगर मुझे एथिक्स के पेपर में इंटीग्रेट करना है तो मैं कैसे करूंगी. तो पढ़ते समय हम थोड़ी बहुत बात करते रहते हैं उसके बारे में. तो जीएस पेपर 1 अलग से कोई तैयारी नहीं चाहिए, ट्रस्ट मी. Okay. Any more question do you have? Okay. If you do not have any question, then now I need to talk something else. So ये classes हम कैसे करने वाले हैं और कब से शुरू करने वाले हैं? That's a very important question. So first of all, I haven't discussed so far anything about those basic concepts. There are so many basic concepts that we need to talk about. So what is going to happen, like first of all on your portal there will be certain videos, ठीक है? आपके पोर्टल में कुछ वीडियोस एक एक करके अपलोड होंगी. There will be on your portal some videos would be there. They will be covering the basics. ठीक है, 4 बहुत ज्यादा नहीं होंगी, 3 या 4 होंगी. ठीक है, वो लाइव क्लासेस नहीं होंगी, वो थोड़ी बेसिक्स हम कवर करेंगे उसमें से. And then after covering those basics, like there will be certain live classes. ठीक है, maybe in the evening time these live classes will be like these live classes will be 1 or 2 live classes, right, will be there. So we'll be just talking about few more things, like and then maybe in the evening time that those classes will take place. Then like we will be going to start from early medieval. हम अर्ली मेडिवल से शुरू करने वाले हैं. अर्ली मेडिवल से विल स्टार्ट, राइट? यानी I must say कि post Gupta period, and after having all these sessions, like whatever I have discussed, कि some recorded videos, then some live classes, and then we'll begin with the early medieval part. So before I come to early medieval, you'll have a holistic idea of whatsoever we have, like मतलब whatsoever the things have happened before, like this early medieval. And then मतलब we'll be having all the connections, like मैं अब live classes के through it is like I'll make all these connections very clear to you. And then from this like early medieval we'll proceed. So early medieval, then like we'll go for medieval, then we'll go for like modern, then we'll go for world, and in this cycle like at the end the ancient part would come. Fine. So इस तरीके से this is the process through which we are going to cover. So I hope the things are clear to you. So okay, thank you very much. Thanks all.